Hi, welcome everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and I have Moon Girl with me, and you're watching the Paranormal Dolls. I just wanted to take this moment to thank our audience, the people who follow us, who week after week watch our shows, and if anybody wants to comment or send us emails, please do. We welcome everything. So, Sarah, how are you, honey?
I'm great. Really excited about our wonderful guest, our dear friend Jason, Mr. Bunch of your nasty, our returning guest. We love him.
Yes, we do. How
Oh
are you
wow,
doing with
that
that?
was thank you. Never had that chance.
Little
You
Janet
Jackson.
Jackson.
Well, don't go that far. Don't go the full Janet Jackson, like Super Bowl Janet Jackson. Don't do that. All right. Well, so yeah, I got nothing after that. That was pretty good.
Once we
I'm
end the
gonna sit here
podcast,
and watch.
we're good.
Yeah, I got coffee. I got a heater in front of me. I'm fine. I'm good. And yeah, I did. Gosh, what was it? It was like I don't know. It was back in like March or April or something. I was on to talk about McRaven House and filmmaking stuff like that. And at that time, I was in Orlando, and it was like 100 degrees. I remember. Now I'm in Illinois, and it's like negative 10 or something crazy around here. So yeah,
From one
the
extreme
times
to
have
another.
changed. Huh?
So from one extreme to another.
Oh yeah, pretty much exactly. Yeah. So, um, just to give a little background, like I have a degree in film and television production. I've written several screenplays, directed some movies. And I got a screenplay right now that's going into production in well, the SAG strike kind of slowed things down a little bit, so to speak, with that when that was going on. So it was originally going to be shooting in March, but I'm thinking probably going to be like early summer now, most likely, is what I'm hearing. And
Mhm.
it's based on a place in Vicksburg, Mississippi called McRaven House, which is a real life haunted house. It's supposedly like I don't know. I saw some ranking system somewhere online where it was ranked like the second or third most haunted house or something like that in the United States. I don't know exactly how you rank haunted houses, like where you go to field.
It
I don't
got
know.
4 ghost stars. Yes.
Ah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I go in there. If I hear noises or hear a door shut, I get freaked the f out anyways. And it's the most haunted house in the United States to me, as far as I'm concerned. So whatever. But I've so yeah, I got hired to write the screenplay. Um, about a year and a half ago, and yeah, I got that going into production. That's real exciting. That was the first time I'd only ever written comedy, and that one was like more of a mystery um, thriller with horror elements to it. And so that was kind of a challenge, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. It definitely um, came out. I thought it was the best script I wrote. I don't know. That's just me. Um, so yeah, that's going into production here before too long, and so I'll be excited to go visit the set for that and post pictures from Vicksburg outside a haunted house. So
Yes.
you know,
So you're gonna film it right in the place,
yeah,
or good?
yeah, they're filming. They're doing like exteriors there
Mm-hmm.
with the cooperation of the homeowners and everything. They're all on board with the production, and it's like it's just kind of like a historic older mansion. It was used during the Civil War as a hospital um, for both the North and the South.
Mm.
Apparently, it was both sides they used it for. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of videos you can look up online about the house and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it just to me, it just seems like that place would just be a hotbed for like a menagerie of just like troubled spirits and all that, like a Civil War hospital. I'm like, yeah, I could imagine that place probably is a little freaky to spend the night. Yeah, just my
Ah,
thought.
that'd be such an awesome place to do an investigation
Have
or
you
an
ever heard of
overnight
it
stay.
before? There,
That's
like,
what
have
we were
you,
look forward to.
yeah, like, have you heard of that house before, Sarah? Before?
Well, I heard, but I never heard any like real details or anything.
Oh,
Like I never, yeah. So
and
until
that's
I
one of the,
spoke to you about it, I was like, oh, okay, wow.
yeah, and that's one of the strange things about it. Like when they told me, like, hey, we got this house, the homeowners really want to, see a production about it, and we got them on board, all this, and got the rights. And then they were like, write the screenplay, like a fictional kind of story centered around it a little bit. So I was like, all right. So like I intentionally I didn't research anything about the house. I actually researched Amityville a lot.
Mm.
And I only
Close
did that
enough.
because, yeah, I didn't want to repeat anything that was in Amityville. And it looked like I was copying Amityville. So I watched documentaries, I watched Amityville, the original movie. I just researched all this Amityville stuff. And I don't know, like I'm writing a fictitious story. So in my mind, and maybe it's the right way, wrong way, I don't know, it's just how I operated. But I thought like, well, I don't really want to know anything about the history of the house. I want to write the story first. I don't want anything in the house to influence, or the history of the house to influence anything I'm writing. I'm going to write the story, and then I will go and look at the history of the house, and then I will look at how it even looks physically. I didn't even look up the house online. I just wrote it exactly like how I pictured it in my head, so forth. And then it was so eerie because then once I finished it, and I'm like, all right, now I'm going to go start looking some of the history of it, see where I can weave some of these things into the actual story I wrote, and kind of have this little meld of the history and the fictitious story I wrote. And then I go and I look at pictures of the house, video of the house, stuff like that. Ghost hunters going there, then it's online. And it was so eerie because the house almost to a T was exactly how I pictured it in my head, like the balcony, everything. It was so weird. When I was looking at the video stuff, I'm like, wow, it's crazy. Uh, so that was really interesting. And screenplay, and that's the shortest amount of time really for like writing a screenplay I ever spent. I think I wrote it, revised it over and over again in like 2 months. So it just all
Wow.
came together really well. Yeah, it was quite an experience. It was interesting. I've spent a year before working on a script, or I spent hell, the one I wrote before that took me 15 years just writing notes, trying to write it, trying and tried it, and never being happy with it, and then finally writing it. And then that was the script that actually landed me this job. When they read that script, the producer really liked it, and it was like, hey, I've got my own thing, and that's why he wanted me to write something that was like kind of the supernatural thriller, because I had like mystery elements in my comedy script, and he thought I wrote them really well, and so it's like, hey, try it for real without comedy. So like, all right, and now I think I'm in love with the dark side.
Yes, we
Come to
won
the
one
dark.
over, Glenda. Welcome.
Yeah. Now I just I wear head to toe black, and I fucking
Yeah,
listen to Lana Del Rey and all this shit. So like
perfect.
I'm a
Oh boy.
Come on down. Yeah.
I got a new thing too going on. I just actually got and I haven't, like, I don't do a lot of podcasts or anything like that, but so this will be the first one I can announce it on, that I just signed a book deal.
Yay!
Yay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I just purely fell into it by accident too. Is the funny thing. It's just the little things. Like I don't want to like say what it is per se, but I can say this: it's the making of a cult classic Hollywood movie, like a behind the scenes stories, stuff like that, blah blah blah.
Mm.
And I was actually looking for a book on this, and I could not locate a book. And I did a deep dive, found there was no book on this subject, and was like, you know what? I'm gonna write one then. Pitched it
I'm
to
gonna
some.
write about it.
I'm gonna write it, yeah. So then I pitched it to my old agent, and next thing you know, a couple of weeks later, he's got a deal in place for me. And I'm like, well, this all happened in like a month. I kid you
Wow.
not.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's
Yeah,
meant to
I've got a,
be.
I guess so. I don't know, but one thing, like writing a book and a screenplay are different animals. And like I have a book someone gifted me a little while back on the making of the Caddyshack movie
Mhm.
that I really
Wow.
liked. Yeah, it was a really good read, and it actually kind of ties in a little bit into what I'm doing, some of the elements of this. So I've been using that as kind of a bit of a guide. I've been just rereading, a lot of research. I haven't even typed the word yet. I've just been doing a lot of research, a lot of printing things, stapling things, filing things. You know, you got to keep track of all your sources and all this stuff. So, but it's been on my bucket list for like my entire life. I always want to write a book. I never thought it'd be on what I'm doing it on, but you know, whatever. Life takes you into funny directions sometimes. Just go with it, you know. But yeah, it's nice though. Like, you know, when I read the Caddyshack book, I remember being like, wow, this is really interesting, cool. Like, I love the history. Like, I'm a history buff and I'm a movie buff, so you combine the two together, behind the scenes stories and just interesting things you never knew, so forth. Like, I love that kind of stuff. It's right up my alley. So to me, even though this is going to take me probably a year to write this, it's a labor of love though, you know. So I don't mind it. Like, I have no problem. Like, I work at 9 to 5 also, so this is my second job now. I come home and I have like 2 or 3 other screenplays I'm trying to get finished and start working on, and then I keep coming up with other things, and I'm like, oh, now I'm doing it, and I just signed a deal, so like I got to do it now. Yeah, so that's interesting. Since the last time we talked, like I honestly did not think I'd be saying that here next time, but you know, who knows?
The next one, I can only imagine next time we have you on.
Right.
Oh yeah, I'll be probably announcing my presidential bid. And,
yes.
Yeah. El Vira will be
even we didn't see that one coming, huh, Glenda?
No, we didn't see that one coming.
Okay. I got so many skeletons in my closet, like it's no.
So do the rest of the president, so you'll be okay.
There are too many people alive that know me. There's no
Well, the only thing I can say is that, you know, new year, you're starting fresh, you're starting with great news. So it's going to go up from here on. And it's, you know, you have that good positive energy. Carrying that good positive energy attracts more positive energy. So
yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something, man, I like to just kind of tell my background story a little bit or whatever. Like, I've had, oh wow, I mean, going back just a few years ago, like things were really not very good in my life. Like, things were very, and I was a negative person. I was borderline just narcissist, if I'm going to come out and say it. Like, I was a womanizer. I had so much negative stuff in my life, so much stress, and no way of emotionally knowing how to really deal with any of it. And I just let it consume me. And so my you know, my prescription for, you know, getting this off my mind, even though it's only temporary, it would be, you know, like sex and, you know, drugs, weed, smoking weed all the time, being in just a big haze and so forth. And, you know, just women, dating as many as I could at one time. It didn't matter emotionally. And I know it sounds funny, but like, you know, yeah. As soon as I'm saying that too, there's an alarm, fire truck going right behind me.
That's a warning sign.
Well, you know. Wow, life is funny sometimes, I'll tell you. Wow. So yeah, just like, no, just a lot of negative stuff going on in my life that I, you know, never wanted to fully ever, you know, because it takes work to time, effort it takes to take on these things in your life. It's easier to just go with the flow and whatever, until you just reach a point where you're just like, I can't keep going on like this anymore. I gotta, you know, change. Like, my mindset was so negative all the time, and like, and it reflected in my real life too, in my personal life, in relationships, romantic or otherwise. Like, it just, yeah, I was not there really all the time, and I was gosh, down and out, and just like didn't have the enthusiasm really for anything. You're just kind of going through the motions. But once starting to you know, work with like a life coach, a relationship coach, once I finally was pushed to rock bottom, for just, that's a whole nother story in itself. But once circumstances in your life just push you to the point where you just have no, you're either like going to shrivel up and just, that's it. You're a shell the rest of your life, or, you can choose to do something about it. No matter how old you are, it doesn't matter,
Mm-hmm.
40, 20, whatever. Uh, and so that's what I chose to do. I chose to just, and don't get me wrong too. Like I make mistakes all the time. Like stress still is part of my life. None of those things ever go away for any of us.
No.
But now I just, my emotional intelligence, so forth, has gone way up since back then. Uh, you know, and like respecting other people, it all starts with respecting yourself. And if you don't really respect, like, how can you want to be friends with somebody if you don't even really like yourself or want to be friends with yourself, so to speak? And that's where I kind of was at one point in my life, just rock bottom. But then you also got to remember too, you gotta be willing to forgive yourself, and you can't just carry that weight around your shoulders, all the time. Uh, like I said, I believe in a higher power, all that. And so at some point in your life, at least in my own life, and this is one thing I can say 100%. Ever since the day I just decided, like, I'm not going to force things in my life anymore. I'm not going to try to force my will into the situations. I'm just going to, like, whether you call it nature, God, whatever it is, just let them just, make me, like, I like that quote by Bruce Lee, where it's like, be like water, allow yourself to be able to flow in whatever direction. So that's what I just pray to God now, just say, make me water and just flow me in whatever direction you need me to go. And ever since then, I mean, there's things that the town I'm living in now, I swore off I'd never live here again. I'd never come back here. Too many bad memories, so forth, blah, blah, blah. Within a week of me telling myself that and coming to peace with all that, I'm moving back to Bloomington for a job opportunity, all these things that I never saw coming. And so, and other things in life too. I just kind of, a screenplay, writing a screenplay and all that during the pandemic, and sending that off after I pretty much kind of given up the screenwriting for a while. Now all of a sudden, what's that? It's led to writing this movie that's going into production, and now it's led into me wanting to do a book and stuff. Things that a couple of years ago, where I was at in my life, didn't even seem conceivable. But yeah, so you got to start at home. You just got to start with you. You got to be able to make those improvements and want to make those improvements. Because if you don't want to, you're not going to. You just, and for me, it was a lot of reading. Not everyone can afford a life coach or a relationship coach or whatever. But for me, it was worth the investment because it was an investment in myself. And it's made me a better man, a better father, better writer all around. And just, yeah, better friend to whoever, It's one thing I love. Like, I have a lot of employees that work for me, and my employees and I, we get along so well. We joke around so much. We have such a good time. My boss tells me all the time, she'd be like, you never lose people. Like, people don't quit. They come to your store, like all other stores, all these issues. They never stay staffed. Like, your store, you got too many people. People won't leave. It's like, and again, I like to say it's me or whatever, but it's just putting out a positive vibe. It's just being positive all the time. And that's hard. That's tricky. But it can be done. Like, you, to the best of your ability. Yeah. Learn deals. Like, I ran stores before, and to just be blunt, I was a dick sometimes. I was a real dick to people. And this time around, though, this opportunity, I was like, I'm going to do things a little different. And it's the same thing when I was in Hollywood, working in film and stuff like that. You get caught up in all that crazy Hollywood shit. And sometimes I, think back on certain things in my 20s or whatever, being a certain way or this or that or whatever. It's like so silly, all the pandering. But maybe that's just life experience too, maturity. I feel like I should be selling a book right now. Actually, like I should have.
That's your second book. That's your second book.
Yeah, come to my seminar this Saturday.
Motivational speaker.
But it is true. I have a lot of coaching clients, and as a coach, you can see the growth in them. And it's true that you got to start with loving yourself. Once you get there, everything basically just falls into place. It may take a little while longer for some for some more than others, but it's still the same thing. And
so, Sarah, there is hope for you, Sarah. That's basically what I wasn't even talking to the audience out there. I was really just specifically speaking to you.
I saw that.
It was fingers crossed.
I just thought it was the Jersey girl.
Yeah, those girls with lip piercings, they're the ones you got to watch for. They're trouble.
Oh, okay. So bad.
Jason showed up.
This is my second and last appearance, apparently, now on the Paranormal.
No, but
I got a giant Arnold Schwarzenegger behind me.
He approved. He approved.
What can I say? Like, I've become such a changed man. I'm on half-naked bodybuilders hanging out in my living room all the time now. There is a motivational quote on there, by the way. No one can read it because it's backwards, but it's something about make a lot of money and do movies and stuff like that.
Perfect.
yeah.
All the motivation we need. No.
Yeah. I just buy the tapestries for the articles. I don't care about the pictures.
So now you said that you all of a sudden you realized you had hit rock bottom, you changed. Now, did you see that negativity in your screenplays or whatever you were writing?
At the time, like when I first started, right, because I wasn't writing a screenplay for a while.
Right.
The kind of rock bottom thing happened, right before the pandemic. And so then I actually used it as kind of a bit of a healing tool, I guess, is when I started writing the screenplay that I've been working on for 15 years. It just came from an idea I got one day in Orlando, and I had like, I can't remember, it was like 60, 70 pages of notes, both sides. I just kept writing notes on it and writing notes, and I would try to write it, and I would never be happy. I'd get 40 pages, not happy, delete it, start all over, I did that several times. And so I was extremely nervous, and I'm right on say I was scared to start writing it because I was afraid it was going to be like all the other times before. I'm not going to like it. I'm my biggest critic. But at the same time, with all this pain I was going through, and the pain was all emotional pain and stuff that I inflicted on myself. It came from another source, but I'm the one who ultimately, it's like shooting a bullet against a wall and it bounces and hits you. So essentially that's what I did. And so it was a lot of kind of being a distraction at the same time, it's a really interesting question you asked, because I never really thought about that. But I did have a character in this particular screenplay I wrote, and it's a comedy. And I would even think as I'm writing this thing, because I always picture, like a lot of times I'll picture a specific actor or something playing this character or whatever as I'm writing it, just to kind of flesh out the character a little bit more in my head, so I know who this person is, so forth, so forth. And there was one character that I was writing that's kind of one of the main characters, and extremely negative, extremely violent, physically, so forth, to the point where I'd even stop and think to myself sometimes, I'm like, okay, I'm writing a comedy, and it's an R-rated comedy, but like, is this guy even funny? Like, is this guy any humor, or is this just like just like everything, maybe all the darkness in me is pouring out into this. So now that you mention it, I think that very much manifested itself into one particular character for sure. And so I had to go back and kind of do some rewrites and kind of actually tone it down a little bit, because it was feeling a little too dark, and maybe I was throwing in maybe a few too many F words or whatever into the dialogue. And so I did go through, and actually, I think if I remember, I deleted 14 F words out of my screenplay because I felt like it was getting a little too excessive. But that's very interesting you bring that up. But I definitely think that was very much the case, and I'd never thought about it till just right now. So thank you, Glenda, for the free sessions.
You think that's also why sometimes you would have maybe procrastinate writing, or maybe writer's block? Do you think that would cause that too?
Yeah, I had writer's block. Gosh, when I was writing the McRaven House script, I got to a certain point, and it was going really well, and I was really happy with it, like very happy with it. And then I just kind of hit this wall where it was like, okay, I know like a few of the scenes I want to write, but now it's like I got to connect the dots, and
Mm.
I still got probably 40, 50 more pages. And then that's like last time I told you, that's where I just started looking for music, something to inspire me or whatever. Came across a song. Song had lyrics and stuff that just literally spoke to what I was already writing and things I was already going to write. It was just like it was meant to. I was meant to find that. And so, yeah. Now, whenever I'm writing, whether it's books, screenplays, whatever, like that's like one thing that's really important to me. I like to put on music in the background. I just started collecting records and stuff. So now I just throw in my little record player and just put that on in the background as a, and it definitely helps put you. And I do like even when I was writing the script before McRaven House, it centers around a bunch of cheerleaders. It's not a cheerleader movie per se, but like the main character is like a cheerleader, her squad, but and it's like I intentionally made it the opening and stuff to kind of look like it's like this kind of typical teen cheerleader movie kind of thing or whatever, and then just kind of completely flipped it on its head early in the script, and then it goes off like, and then you realize this is not what you initially maybe thought it was going to be. But even when I was writing that, I would go and I would watch. I did like a lot of research. I interviewed a lot of former cheerleaders from the NFL all the way down to high school or whatever. And then like when I'd go to write, I would just put on, I would just literally find like cheerleader videos on like YouTube or whatever and watch one or two of them every time before I would start writing it to help put my mind like in that place. Because obviously I've never been a female cheerleader, so I have no idea, exactly what mentality, thought, whatever. So, and that's the stuff I love. Like I noticed in a lot of scripts I write, my main protagonists a lot of times are females, and I think it's because it fascinates me trying to like think, in a way that maybe I would normally ever never think. And a lot of it's just every time I talk to somebody or anybody, I collect data from them in the back of my brain, and then it may manifest itself into a character someday, or whatever in a screenplay. So like I think Jerry Seinfeld's the one I read a while back ago where he had some quote that like he like he loves being a kid, but he hates the fact that he can't ever just go somewhere and do something normally, because he's like everything I ever see or ever do, no matter what it is, the most mundane thing, he's like in my head, it's a bit. I'm figuring out like how is this funny or how can I make a joke out of this or whatever. He's like it's just nonstop. And yeah, like with the writing bug and stuff, it's like the same way. You meet people, whatever, and in your head you're just like, this person, these traits, that traits, whatever. And then as you're writing, you may not even it's maybe subconscious. You're just writing somebody that you already know. I do it all the time. I wrote a character in my cheerleader script that I swear to God, I got like 3/4 of the way done. And I realized like this character is this person in my life. Like I wasn't even thinking about it. Just the way I'm writing it, her mannerisms, the way she acts, the way she is inside. Like this is this person. Like there's no doubt in my mind. I wasn't even consciously like thinking that. It just happens, But it's one of the. It's all just a big discovery. It's all just having fun and driving yourself crazy at the same time. So writing screenplays, like I love writing screenplays. It really is enjoyable. You're creating your own world, so forth, all that, your own people in there, and it's at the same time though, it's like, gosh, as enjoyable as it is, it's also just like it really can push you sometimes. Like I know me, like I would just want to write the funniest stuff I can or the best scenarios or what's things I've never seen. Am I repeating something I've seen in a movie before or whatever? So it's just like constant wheels turning as you're writing something. Is this an original or is this something that's stuck in my brain from something I saw 10 years ago or something like that? So, right.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the McRaven, your script, what that's about, and what
Yeah. Yeah, I can give you like a brief
inspired
overview.
you?
So it's the McRaven script is it centers around like a younger private investigator by the name of Brooklyn, who is
Daughter.
hired by. Yeah, yeah, that's my daughter's name. And my daughter, that when I told my daughter I was writing a script, she asked me if I could make her name one of the characters. So I said okay, and then realized that like I don't really see a lot of movies that have that name as a character in it, so I decided to make her the main character. Um,
Good.
and
Perfect.
someday when she's older, and she can watch it when she's much older. It's fine. Um, but yeah, so it's just like this private investigator gets hired. She's like one of those, tough loner type, whatever. And she gets hired by this super wealthy businessman whose daughter has gone missing. And the last place she was known to be about was in McRaven House. And so he has to go there and investigate, find out what happened, so to speak, staying at the house. And it's just kind of like everything in the little town and all that. Of course, you got like the corrupt sheriff, that kind of stuff. Some of those things that are like kind of typical of those movies. But the I came up with a twist ending that I was really happy with. That I haven't really. I can only think of one other movie I've ever seen it in, and it wasn't even a horror movie, suspense movie. So, and everybody anytime I've ever shown the script to somebody, the first question after they read it is, I always ask them like, "Did you see the ending coming?" I'm super curious. Did you know the ending was coming? And I've not had one person yet tell me they could see the ending coming. So I guess that's a feather in my cap. But, yeah. So she goes to investigate, and then it's the house is kind of like inhabited with spirits, so to speak, all that, and then all the different strange characters she meets along the way, and this mystery that starts as she's doing this investigation in town, trying to find out what happened to the daughter of the wealthy businessman, and then some things start to unravel. Befriends one of the good cops or whatever, one of those kind of things where they start working on it together, and of course, the deeper they get, the crazier it gets, and so forth, and then it all just comes to a big crazy ending.
So there's something to look forward to for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I can't tell you, really beyond that, because then why go buy a ticket?
And no, we understand. We understand. You just gave us enough to entice us and tease
Yeah,
us, and now we have to go watch it.
I mean, it's
Come
really
I was gonna
good.
see it
It's a,
anyways. I was gonna
on.
see it anyways.
oh,
So it
really?
doesn't matter.
I mean, I think it's really good myself. I mean, I wrote it, but I liked it. I thought it came out really well. So we'll see. I mean, you never know. Like you write something, that's the other thing too. Like especially a screenplay. Like screenplays never stay how you write them. They always
Mm.
change. They change the title. They hire rewrites all the time. And I did some rewrites for them on this script already. But at this point, it's like handing your kid over to boarding school. It's like you just hope that they get straight A's and all that.
When sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
When is the production gonna start on this? Your pre-production.
Well, the pre-production is already ongoing right now. The last I heard, I talked to a producer guy on Christmas actually. We were texting, and they're using the actual house itself, the McRaven House. They're shooting. Um, I know a lot of like exteriors, all the exteriors and stuff. They're going to shoot there. They also have there's like a lot of historical mansions in Vicksburg, and so there's a few other mansions they're going to shoot, I think, as well for like interiors and so forth. It'll be like a composite. Um, and the McRaven House is great because they give tours and stuff like that, and it's furnished with all these all these period um, correct things and so forth that they have there. So I believe that they're going to actually get to feature some of that stuff in there and use them as well in the film. So we'll see. But yeah, as far as I know, though, like all the exteriors are going to be shot there. It wouldn't surprise me because everybody's from LA that's doing this. So they'll probably shoot interiors probably somewhere in LA on a soundstage or something would be my guess for is I think is how they're planning on doing it and then shoot. in Mississippi for like a few weeks doing all the exterior shots in the town and so forth, and things like that. There's like a diner scene or two, some other like kind of around town type scenes that are going on. So I'm sure they'll probably shooting those right there on location. And that's how I get to go be an extra, is what I've been told.
Yay.
They're going to fly
See,
me to
I want to do an investigation there now. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that done for you. You're gonna come do an investigation.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome! I'm so down.
Absolutely, I already talked to dude about it.
Yeah, that's a good surprise. Thank you.
Yeah, no, he was all for it.
Me too, man. Exciting.
So yeah,
see, now we're gonna have to do a video on that, Glenda, while I'm there.
There you go.
So yeah, that's kind of where that's at. But like as far as the actual shoot date, I don't know if they've hammered out an exact shoot date. It's still pre-pro. My guess and what was hearing was somewhere early summer, probably like June-ish. Be my guess. Like I said, it was supposed to have been starting here in a couple of months, but things got pushed back. Strikes, lovely.
Oh yeah, that's true. Now, with your book, I know you can't like go into like much detail, but you can tell us like the genre, sort of.
Yeah,
of it.
It's basically like just the making of a movie, a specific movie. That's, if I told you the name of the movie, you'd all know it, and you'd be like, "Oh, really? No one's ever written a book about that? Really?" Like that's the reaction I get if I mention it to somebody.
The Animal House. I don't know.
I think so has written. I don't know. Like I just came on. I was watching a freaking old Christmas special when I came across it. Like this idea, I was like, no one's ever done one on Christmas specials or whatever. I wonder if anyone's ever written a book on like the history of Christmas specials and blah blah blah. Well, somebody had, actually 2 people. Oh. And so I was researching it. I was like, well, what do you know? There's like someone did like an encyclopedia of them from like 1938 to present or something. I'm like, well, there's nothing I can add to that. Like, yeah. Like, all right, forget that idea. And then I happened to notice something in my place, and it reminded me of another movie. And I thought, wow, I bet maybe there's one on that already that exists. And I looked, I couldn't find one. Searched Amazon, couldn't find one. Started searching everywhere. I did a deep dive for like an hour. Every search, and I could not find anything on it. And then that's when I decided to pitch it to my old agent. And then, yeah, next thing I know.
That's wild.
Yeah, you never know. Like, I had no idea I was even going to be doing it. Like I said, I was planning on just finishing up a script, and then I got like 2-3 other ideas I wanted to start working on. But now I'm like, all right, I'm going to write a book instead. But it's fun. Like, this is a topic that I'm like 100% down for. And if no one's written a book on it, I'm like, damn it, someone needs to. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of research, and I'm finding a lot of interesting facts already, and some things I didn't even know. And I'm a huge fan of this movie, and already finding out a lot of different things. So now it's like, and you got to do a lot of, get a hold of people, not just that starred in it, but people that worked location manager, people that were, obviously like the director, people that produced. I want to, but I want to talk to people that were, worked in wardrobe, worked in whatever,
Yeah.
Like those are the people who usually have the juiciest stories and are willing to tell them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The makeup artist, everybody.
Yeah, the makeup artist and the hairstylist. I mean, who doesn't sit there and talk to their hairdresser or whatever and just give their whole life? So I'm like, there's got to be so many
therapist.
Yeah. So now I just got to, find them all. But now I can do it. I did a project a while back ago where I had to I got a hold of like 50 playmates from Playboy, and it was you do a deep enough dive, you can find out people's contact info. I found. I like doing it. It's kind of fun. It's a challenge for me.
And I was gonna ask you about that. I was like,
if you just isolated what I just said there, I sound like an insane stalker. If you do a deep enough dive, you can find anyone's contact info.
Capricorn.
I was just continuing. I was not even going to mention it. Okay. I was just like, yeah, yeah, just let that one go.
Yeah, I wear pink. I'm harmless.
Oh, Lordy, Lordy. So I have to ask, why did you search for the cheerleaders? Just,
And
When I was writing the cheerleader script,
yeah, yeah, you research all of them.
oh God, yeah, I had to learn. I had to learn I know nothing about that whole world or whatever. So I had to learn like what they call certain poses, what they this that like some of it was relevant to what I was writing.
Hmm.
God, I must like I watched like every Bring It On movie ever made. Uh, I was watching anything I could get a hold of that was like a cheerleader movie, and it was a lot of it was just to see like what didn't really work in it, what was bad or whatever, so I don't fall into those pitfalls or whatever and so forth, and to make sure I'm not repeating something that was in there. And God, I even I'd watch stuff like making the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader squad a reality show, stuff like that, behind the scenes stuff. And my next door neighbor, luckily, when I was growing up, my neighbor that lived next door ended up becoming a cheerleader for the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, for several years back in the early 2000s. And so like it was great. I was able to interview her and get insight on that side. I mean, everything from just like what part do they have their own tunnel they run out of? Do they come out of the same tunnel as the players? Like I want everything to be super accurate. Are you allowed to wear jewelry? And if so, what would you be allowed to wear or something on the field or whatever? All those kind of things. So gosh, yeah, like you got to just do a deep dive on anything. I mean, that's true of anything though. If you're
Right.
not an expert already, which I'm not an expert on cheerleading. I have no idea. So yeah, that was interesting. And then like I would watch like there'd be like instructional videos on like YouTube or whatever, where this like cheerleaders just showing you like, all right, this is whatever. They'd be showing you different moves or whatever. Where this is called this or that or whatever. So I would just watch those things just to kind of get it like ingrained in my head to kind of put my brain in that kind of place. So then when
Mhm.
I go writing immediately afterwards, I'm like, okay, this is like kind of fresh in my head. It kind of just, I don't know, put your mind in that place, I guess, in some ways. Like this is the tone I'm going for. This is the world that we're living in right now in this computer. So it's all just about, yeah, it's, if I was writing a script on lumberjacks, I'd probably go hang out with a bunch of lumberjacks or something for a while or whatever. I was doing a script on bodybuilders. I'd probably hang up a picture of a bodybuilder in my living room. That kind of.
And you're the king of notes.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so you take a
Right.
lot of notes for this.
Yeah, I write
This book?
everything down. Yeah. I've got tons of. I've already started writing out like chapter headings for what I think will fit into each chapter. But like I'm so scratching the surface right now on this. Like I just got started, so like I've just written general ideas. Like this kind of stuff could fit into this one. This would fit into this. Talk to me in 3 months. Half of them will probably have changed or whatever. Or ones that I think are going to be separate chapters will end up actually just condensing into one or something like that. I just know like I want a certain number of pages I want to get to and a certain number of chapters if I can. And that's it. The rest is, going to be the challenging part because like, yeah, this is totally different than anything I've done, but it's something I've always wanted to do. So I'm like, I very much am up for the challenge, and I already gave my word that I would I would do it. So at this point, I'm going to do it. It was my damn idea, so I only got myself to blame. So I guess stay off the internet. When you start Googling things, you're going to find stuff that have never been written, and then you're going to be like, I'm going to write it. And
Now, have you ever found yourself with too much information?
too much information.
Too
Oh
much
wow.
information. Really?
Yeah. Too much information can be overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah, like Sarah was just saying with writing the notes and everything. I mean, I'll write so many damn notes. When I was the cheerleader script, I had like 70 pages of notes, just everything. I had stuff written on napkins and stuff. I mean, I'm talking back and like going back as far as 2005. I was writing notes on this thing.
Hmm.
Everything from character, like this would be a funny character name or this or that. And then it's fun to watch over the years how it like evolved into what it ended up ultimately being. And I was super happy with it. Love what it ended up becoming. But yeah, like I remember it being really overwhelming when I first sat down to start writing it and just trying to go through all these. I mean, it was a whole day just to go through all my notes and then figuring out what I think would work, what won't still. And, you know, and like 85% of it is like useless. It doesn't matter though, because like, yeah, I'm always going to write something down or text something to myself or whatever, like constantly. I do that all the time. Always screenshotting something or texting something or a line or something I think would be funny. So yeah, it's just, you know, it's like a part of the process. You just gotta, like too much information, yeah, it can be hazardous, but I'd rather have too much than not enough.
Yeah.
But at the same time though, like, all right, be prepared because you're gonna have to sift through all this stuff and you're gonna have to figure it out. But you know, that's a part of the process, right? That's exactly like what you got to do. Yeah, it's not just you sit at a keyboard and you start typing, and then 20 days later you've got a script or whatever. Like that's generally not how it works. You usually got to put the time in beforehand, and it's like I look at it like you're building the foundation to a house, and then when you write the rough draft, you're putting, you know, that's like building the foundation. And when you go through and you revise and revise, you know, I'll revise a script 25, 28 times, whatever. And that's when you're putting in the furniture now, and hanging the pictures up and all that. When you're really, and Jordan Peele actually has a great quote about screenwriting that I actually have on my office desk. And it's basically a paraphrase, something along like when he's writing a screenplay, he doesn't, like, he knows it's awful. Like, he'll admit, like, when I'm writing the rough draft, I know it's awful. He's like, but I don't focus on the sandbox. He's like, the script is like the sandbox. He's like, I don't focus on the sandbox. He's like, because I know I'm going to be filling in the sand later on, aka when he's revising and revising. Like that's, and so that's a constant battle because like in my brain, I'm like a perfectionist. And I want it to come out great the first time and everything, and it just doesn't. And just
That's
doesn't
not how it
work.
works, no matter how good you are.
No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. And I look at it like Michael Jordan warmed up on the court before the game started. He shot free throws. He shot 3-pointers. You know, so it's like you got to put in the time, the effort, and then you got to understand too that, like, okay, you're going back and you're going to revise this stuff. You're going to revise it, and you're going to, and that's actually that to me, that's the most enjoyable part. Once I got that foundation written, and it's kind of the skeleton. That's another analogy I'll use. That's the skeleton. Now I'm going to go put in the organs and all that. And yeah, so that's the part I enjoy the most, is actually going through and revising. That's why I'll do it 30 times through or whatever. And you're reading your same screenplay over and over and over again. And then you got to take a few days off in between because it become overload and you fry your brain. And then it doesn't matter as much to you when you're reading. If you're reading it over and over and over and over, it's all going to become white noise. It's all going to become this, like, you can't discern what's funny anymore, what's not. I don't, you know. And I love showing it to people. I'll show select people that I trust, their opinion, so forth. My script, I'll give it to them. Be like, if it sucks, tell me it sucks. Like, you're doing me no good if you tell me you love it or whatever, just to be nice to me. So I give it to people that I trust that don't tell me it sucks.
No yes man.
No yes men here. No, I can't afford them.
I always tell people I love the truth. I don't care how ugly it is. I'd rather know the truth so I can act accordingly. That's
Yeah. Truth is a good thing. Sometimes it's you know,
hard to swallow sometimes, like but you know, I'd rather know the truth any day.
Yeah, amen to that.
That's so true. And all that hard work is what they call the labor of love, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the payoff.
Right.
You know, in the end. And I'm not talking about monetarily speaking. Like, I'm not going to make a ton of money off this book by any means, not even close. I'm doing it just because I really want to do it, because no one's done it before, and it's, you know, something I love, and it's a new challenge. It's like, okay, I've done the writing screenplays many times. Like this is, like I said, a whole nother animal. So it's like, all right, it's going to take kind of, it's like switching from baseball to basketball or something. The sports, it's writing with screenplays and books, but it's a different form, and this is a different form of that. So I'm excited. Like I'm looking forward to it. And at the same time, I know I'm also going to want to be killing myself in like 3-4 months because it's just going to be so overwhelming and crazy. So, yeah, but that it all comes, but then when it's all finished, that's the payoff where, all right, it's great. Like I'm happy with it. I enjoy it. And I think I did the best I possibly could. And then you can feel satisfied. And, but that's why it's also scary starting something like that, because like, what if I get to the end? But you never know if you don't try. If you get there and you don't like it, great, go back and restart it again. It took 15 years to write a script. So it's like, there's nothing wrong. Quentin Tarantino, all the time, he has scripts that halfway done, puts it in the drawer. 8 years later, pulls it back out, makes Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, wins Oscars and stuff. A script that he started years before. So you never know. Sometimes you gotta let things simmer for a while. Maybe it's not the time right now to write this. Maybe it's down the road. That's where you gotta, trust in a higher power, all that kind of thing. That's why I just say, if this is right for me, then eliminate any hurdles in my way or anything like that, so forth, or help me to navigate them, that kind of thing. So that's how I view writing a book for the first time. Like, okay, there's gonna be a lot of hurdles, there's gonna be a lot of things to navigate, there's gonna be a lot of stress, so forth. But it's like, if it wasn't, it wouldn't be worth doing.
Correct.
There you go.
And
go ahead, Glenda.
To be signing the contract for it and promising to do it like within a month, that is like removing all of the hurdles.
As far as that aspect,
yeah,
and that's amazing. Like it even blew my mind that how fast it all came together. But the hurdles, as far as like just the writer's block, when you're going to hear no a lot, trying to get interviews lined up with people. I already know I'm going to hear no probably quite a few times from people, but that's okay. It's like there's ways around it. There's other content I can use from with quotes and stuff that I can use for this, so forth. So it's just like, okay, just a matter of bibliographies are wonderful things.
exactly. So,
go ahead, Glenda.
No, go ahead. So,
did you always want to be a writer, or you just kind of fell into that?
Yeah, always. Since I can remember, I remember in what was it, like fifth grade or something? I remember our teacher telling everybody one day, just out of the blue, that we were going to use the next 2 class periods to write our own like original, like 3 or 4 page short story that we were write in class right then and there. And like with me, like I'm already getting my Trapper Keeper out. That's how old I am. Opening that thing. And like, and I can't remember what the parameters were for it or whatever exactly, but like, I'm already, we were supposed to brainstorm where you write down thoughts and all that kind of stuff. And I'm already starting on this. And I just remember everybody around me, damn near everybody in the classroom, was moaning and groaning about it. And I could not understand why. I generally was like, this is like the greatest thing, or we're going to write our own, like this is our assignment. We're going to write a story and all that. And then we had to like share it in front of the class. Well, that just went like 100 times through the roof for me. Because if I get to actually share it in front of everybody, like even better. I love that kind of thing. That's why I did stand-up comedy for like 3.5 years. And like they always say like public speaking and taxes or whatever, or death, or, like everyone's biggest fears. And like, it's not public speaking for me. That doesn't bother me at all. I actually kind of relish it. And I'd get like, I use that nervous energy. Like I just use it to like as fuel, I guess. I don't know, or whatever. Everyone always feels nervous energy before that. It's only natural, but it never really bothered me. Like in school, like I worked on the school newspaper. I had like my own column that they let me write and stuff like that. I was working in radio at a really young age too, at like 15. I used to write every week. I did a weekend, I did like it was like a Saturday night show, and I'd do a show on Sunday. It's just a local top 40 DJ. I was like 15, and I would sit there every week, and I would go through newspapers, National Enquirer, whatever I get my hands on, magazines, whatever, Newsweek, stuff like that. And I would look for like things that I could write jokes about and write comedy bits. And every week I was writing, I was writing like probably about a dozen to 15 jokes for our morning show guy every morning. I'd have my mom fax them from her office to him for me while I was at school. And then one of our sister stations morning guy found out that I was writing all these jokes for the main top 40 morning guy. And so he asked if I would start writing jokes for him also. So then I started writing jokes for him. And then it became like, who do I give which joke to who? I don't know. And it just, I don't know. Yeah, I'd be, I don't recommend this anybody that's in school. I'd be sitting in science class writing jokes and stuff like that. The O.J. Simpson trial was going on, I remember. So I remember writing a lot of about O.J. Simpson. Yeah.
That damn Bronco. No, just kidding. And he's funny. I've seen the stand-up. I've seen videos. So he's actually really good.
Did I send it to you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I liked it. It was funny.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You're very kind.
It was good. He's a good comedian. So if all else fails, he can just go back over there. But it won't. But can always come back.
Yeah, stand-up was fun.
Options. You have options.
Oh yeah. I want to literally in life. Like there's so many different things I want to at least sample. Stand-up comedy, directing a movie, writing movies, writing a book. So I'm just trying to mark each one off as I go. And who knows? Like maybe one of them really. Yeah. Like screenwriting is still number one to me. And filmmaking is still number one, but I wouldn't mind writing a book here and there once in a while. If this one comes out really good and they're really happy with it, then wonderful. Maybe write another one. Find another movie that no one did a behind the scenes to look at or something like that. And, we'll see.
Well, we have a couple of minutes. Is there anything else that you want the audience to know about you or your?
Oh, actually, I got a question for you all.
Okay.
And this has been going on for like 6 months now. And I don't understand this at all, but I keep seeing 11/11 constantly. And for like the last 6 or 7 months. And I think Sarah even asked you about this a while back ago or something like that. And so what, and people keep telling me like angel numbers and it means this, means that. So I'm not really sure. What are all these 11/11s constantly? And it's not even the time on the clock. Like I sent somebody's Yeah, like as someone's publicist, I had to send something to a month ago. Her suite number was 11/11. It's just stuff like that. Like I just see the silliest stuff constantly.
You're getting aligned. Spirit's way of letting you know you're aligning where you need to be, basically in a nutshell. So you're doing a good job. But Glenda, if you want to tell them more, that's fine.
It's basically the Ascended Masters telling you, you got this. You're finally on the right road, on the right path. Just continue.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So with the whole life change and you being in a better place, it's just reassurance that you are on the right track and you're ascending.
Yeah, that's what people have told me and so forth, but I want to get it from experts.
I mean, there's that, but if you want to go to numerology, that could be something else too.
Right.
What does my palm say? What is this?
Well, read your face next time. I'll read your face. I'll do you tiny space reading. Yes. It's quite accurate, actually. So yeah.
Is it? Okay. Well, all right. I'll make my face available anytime you want.
There you go. All right, we do have to go, but I want to thank you, Jason, for coming back. It was great seeing you again, and with so much wonderful stuff that is happening. And congratulations on all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Moon Girl.
I can't wait to show you all the trailer one day.
There you go.
Yes, you have to come back to show us the trailer and the book and everything else.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And as always, many blessings. And we love you. Bye.
Bye.